I'm your host, Brian Watkins, and welcome to another edition of the Brian Watkins channel. My subject today is about a situation that's been going on quietly and privately for quite some time, but it's to the point now where I have to bring it up and address it. Okay, this subject is about white people ask me when I'm by myself, and because I make videos and stuff about a lot of different subjects and whatnot, and we talk about a lot of different subjects, whether we agree or disagree. I don't trip or anything. Make a long story short, they ask me, why is it that certain blacks call themselves niggas among themselves but get upset and almost nearly violent towards a white person that'll call them the same thing. The reason why I'm making this video is because it's getting to the point when I explain it to them, I'm so embarrassed, not offended, but embarrassed to attempt to try to get them to understand it. Because I admit I don't use the word. I'm highly aware of it, because I grew up against my will listening to Richard Pryor, may he rest in peace, when he came out with an album that was called That Nigger's Crazy. So he was the only one to use it. Of course, I heard it, and Richard Pryor was very successful. And I'm saying that to say this. It's almost the same thing when black females get upset when we call them out. They need to stop wearing fake hair. And some of the brothers get upset with me over here in the Midwest. Now, a lot of my viewers are men of all different types of nationalities. It may not be like that over there where you at, but it's like that over here, and it's getting worse. So the reason why I'm making this video is for those of you who wanted the same thing, or going through the same thing, or faced with the same thing. Let's get started. Shout outs to everybody that view my channel, support my channel, subscribe to my channel. I couldn't do any of this without you, and I appreciate your continued support. Now here's what's been going on. I met a gentleman 2 days ago. He was talking. Nice conversation. Nice white gentleman. Older white gentleman. He was 70. And we covered a lot of different topics, And he asked me, he was like, well, can I ask you something? I'm like, oh, here it comes. I know it's coming. I said, yeah, sure. You can ask me. He said, why is it that certain black people call themselves the N-word, but if a white person will call themselves each other the N-word, but if a white person do it, they ready to almost kill that person? I said, well, here's why, and I've been trying to tell my own kindness. I said, listen, you cannot get upset that if you are calling yourselves that name among yourselves and another nationality, it don't matter if it's a white person, it can be an Arab, anybody that's other than black, or do the same thing, and the same result, they're ready to beat them up. And I'm like, if you want people to stop calling you that, stop thinking of yourself as that and calling one another that. And I said they have this twisted idea that the reason that they use the word among themselves because it's a term of endearment. And I'm like, okay, how the word is still spelled the same. They may say nigga, but it's still nigger. They just It's the same thing. Why? Because subconsciously, I explained to him that when a white person called a black person that, just using the word among themselves and among his counterparts, his homies or whatever, soon as a white man say he ready to, because it takes him back exactly to where that name actually came from. So he can't sit back and say that he doesn't know, but again, he brings it in as contradicting himself. Whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, oh, well, I mean it as a term of endearment. And don't get me wrong, I tell you, I see this too. I just speak about it and don't give a fuck. is a lot of the ones that's doing it, they want to stop using the word among themselves and others, but they worried about what their older brother think. You know, the uncle that's all violent. Oh, don't get Uncle Charlie, man. Because I came from that background, and because I had three older brothers, and they used to try to come on me like that. You know, and I had to whoop one of their asses. I don't give a fuck. I'm be me. You know, and I'm not encouraging violence. No, not at all. That's what I had to do as an individual. This was long before the internet became public the way it is. I'm just talking about it. But I was just like, I don't use the word. I don't. Even if I come across, like I got some friends that behave like that. You know what I mean? But they don't call me that. I don't call them that. I'm just like, man, you need to be careful out there. You know. Whereas with them, man, guess what, man? I'm hanging out with so and so, and this white guy called me a nigga, and I was like, okay, but was you all using that name among yourselves? Man, why you on that? I answered the question. Were you all using that word among yourselves? Of course we was. Okay, so why you getting upset? That's like a person. Everybody has a name, and that's just like if everybody that's black and I'm black call me by my name, I'm okay with it. But as soon as a person of another nationality call me by my same name that they're calling me, I get upset and want to beat their ass. That's the same way I look at them using the word nigga among themselves and then getting upset when a white person called them that. And it's sad because I seen it in like two separate motion pictures. And I was just like, man, I got a lot of explaining to do that they need to cut that shit out because it's not cool. It's the same thing with black females wearing fake hair. Okay, there's no reason for using that word among yourselves. You know, I admit, yeah, everybody been called it. Okay, here and there for me, but I'm gonna tell you something I noticed. Other nationalities call black people that name more than one that doesn't use it among themselves. I've noticed that. So I was like, man, you can't get upset. They calling you, saying, well, what's up, nigga? Blah, 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 blah. And, y'all called out. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand, like, in rap music, that word was never used in rap music for, I say, from, Rappers Delight all the way up till NWA. Niggas with an attitude. I said, uh-oh. Mm, mm, mm. And it ain't stopped since. It's always been in motion pictures. The word always has been used. Like I said, the one that I heard it the most from was Richie Pryor. And I'm saying that to say this. I'm just like, well, I told you y'all to quit using that word among yourselves. You know, um, like I said, two motion pictures. I think in 8 Mile and definitely one of Rush Hour. Jackie Chan was like, "What's up, my nigga?" And Nick, man, they was about to beat his ass, and I was like, "See, mm-mm. But again, because don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Chris Tucker. But let's go back to Chris Tucker's blockbuster first movie, Fridays. How many times was that word used in that film? We already know. Uh, it's a lot of music, you know what I mean? And there's no logical reason to use that word among yourselves. It really isn't, you know. Uh, like I said, because I get asked, I've been getting asked that quite often. I'll say in the last few months or a year or so. And I know, I said, but I always have to ask them before I answer the question because by them answering the question, I'll be able to try to answer the question because it sounds so stupid. Oh, I mean, it's a term of endearment. How can you say, okay, we know what that word really means? How is a term of endearment? Really, it's bullshit. It's because they're afraid to stand up to the men, so-called men in their family that use it and worried about them probably getting jumped on for not using it. Because a lot of things that's perpetrated among blacks and black community, especially in the hood or the ghetto, is usually them worrying about if Uncle Charlie finds out about it, or because I went through it with my family. I just didn't give a fuck. I always knew I was going to have to beat somebody's ass to get up and stand up for myself as an individual, bring me all the way to this point now to do this particular work that I'm doing right now for my viewers. I knew it was going to take some violence. Why? Because I know how black people are privately. What you mean you ain't using that word? We've been using that word ever since Grandpa came so and so so and so. But you trying to be uppity? You trying to talk white? See what I'm saying? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna beat their ass. They tried on me. And sure enough, my second oldest brother tried it, and I had to knock his lights out. You know, I'm like, you're not gonna tell me what to do. But that's me. Other blacks, man, ain't no telling. You know how black people crazy. You know what I mean? Hate to say it, niggas. Might pour some hot boiling water on while they sleep because they stopped using the word among themselves because they don't really want to use it anyway. But they're afraid because they don't want to be faced with violence from family because some families are crazy. I know mine is, but I didn't care. I was like, well, we're just gonna have to have it out. You know, whether I win or lose, you can already know to stay out of my way. You don't know I have a problem defending myself. So I got out of it from family, but because I see the same thing among black females with this hair weave stuff, or just stupid scam stuff like never being obedient to a man that's treating you right and earning your respect. Oh, girl, you know we don't roll like that over here. You know how we do it, and it's the same thing with using the word nigga among them stuff, and they don't want to stop using it, but yet they want to jump on a white man that address them the same way when he hear that they calling themselves the same word among themselves. It's the contradictors, just like the black females wearing the fake hair. They're trying to defend it. Really, there's no logical, civilized reason for it. You know, if I lose some followers on saying this, it's all good. I do not have a problem with that. You know, most of my followers are pretty good and very supportive. Well, not followers, views. I meant to say. My bad. My mind is on Instagram. About whatever subject I say, fine, you can disagree, but if someone unsubscribe, it's all good because again, this is a subject that is difficult for me to. Well, I don't saying defend it because I'm not defending that word. I tell black brothers, I said, man, stop using that word among yourselves. You know, maybe maybe force them to think twice about using it. But y'all use the word so much among yourselves. What's up, nigga? Oh, nigga. But yet, if a white person say, "Oh, what's up, nigga?" Baby, I had to check my brother one time. I said, "Man, dog, what you doing? You just called yourself this. You just called him that. Why you gonna swing on this white man for calling you that?" He looked at me like, "What the?" Like I said, I didn't care. But tune in for part 2 on this subject. Don't you go anywhere.